crafty friends, this is Rachel, Crafting Mama Bear. Today's video I'll be sharing with you my completed pages for December 2025. For December, I had a goal to go into 2026 with 0 untouched books. I did pretty good, but I didn't quite meet that goal. Let's see, I completed 53 pages in 46 books. I had 4 buddy colors. I touched and colored in 42 of my untouched books. And that means I still have 11 books left that I need to touch in January. Books purchased, I got 8 books in December, and one of them was gifted from Chelsea. And so the total number of books in my collection is 144. The total number of pages I colored in 2025 was 486. So, first thing I will show you is the PDF that I colored. And the only PDF that I colored was this one that was provided by R.J. Hampson in his Facebook group. I finished it on the 18th. Yeah, I didn't go each day. I just started coloring little pieces, and then, yeah, as I felt like playing around with it, I would color little pieces. I based everything with alcohol marker and then went in with my Prismacolor colored pencils and a white acrylic marker for some of the details. So there's that. Next, this was an untouched book, and so I used my water and did this cute little page. I got this book from Five Below, and it's just, I got one for my daughter for Christmas, and I wanted one too. And so it's just cute little pages, and you just use a water brush and pull the color out, and it's just lots of fun. So there's that. Next up, I have A Million Unicorns. And for all of my Lumeo pages, I just covered the title pages and all of them. And I tried to match the cover. So there's this. I based all of these with some water-based markers. I mostly use my Crayola Super Tips. And then I bought a new one, Mellifluo. I'll put a picture of the packaging up so you can see it. I found it on Temu a while ago, and it was like their pastel one, and so I wanted to give it a try, and I don't hate them. I think that they're very comparable to Tombows, in my opinion. Next up is A Million Little Monsters, and again, I did my title page, and this one I used some chalk pastel for the background because I knew if I used my water-based markers, it was going to be super streaky, and then that was going to drive me crazy. So, yeah, just water-based markers, my gold Signo gel pen for all the gold, and then the chalk pastels for the background. And A Million Baby Animals. Here's that page. And again, chalk pastel for the background, water-based markers, and my gold Signo pen. I tried to match it. So there's that. Next, A Million Mermaids. This one was tricky to find some of the like pastel-y colors, even with that new set that I got. And A Million Owls. This is probably my favorite one out of all of them that I did. They're so freaking cute. And doesn't this little owl guy here remind you of the Tootsie Pop owl? Just, I don't know. Every time I see him, that's what it reminds me of. So that is it for all the Lulumeos. So all of the, well, sorry, I still have my tarot one. That's coming up. I've just got these laid in here from smallest to biggest. In my seasonal patterns book, I colored this page, and it was all alcohol marker. No fancy coloring, just straight, yeah, just straight alcohol marker, no shading. And this was not a Untouched book, because I had done one in November. Next up was my Buddy Color book with Craft Time with Yaya. We are just going in order, and for December it was the cute little owl page. So for the background, I just used one of my circle stencils. That is alcohol marker for the gray, alcohol marker for the coloring of the birds. I used a star stencil with a white pigment ink for the stars, and then I believe I used my colored pencils for all the dark areas on them. And I will pop up Yaya's picture over here. She did such a cute job. Thank you, Yaya. We've got some good ones to color in 2026. Alrighty, this page in this book gave me the hardest time. This was a struggle bus page. So this was a book that needed to be colored in. And if you are familiar with this book, then you know that these are not the ornaments that Hannah Carlson illustrated for it. And it's just because I couldn't figure out how to do them a way that I liked it. It was as simple as that. So I went online, found some images that I liked, printed it, cut it out, and glued it where the other bulbs were. I colored the bulbs with alcohol marker, and then I went over top with my Prismacolors for shading and depth, and then my gold Signo pen for all of the gold details. The background, that was a real struggle because I used my gel crayons on the background, and then I had a hard time finding another medium that would work on top of it where I could make like a bokeh effect or like there were lights shining in the background. And the only thing that I got to work were my Distress Oxide inks. So that is that page. So I almost gave up on this page because it was a nightmare to do. And I'm glad it's done, but I got this book and the party book because I'm not 100% sure that I love her illustrations. And I think this page showed that. Like, I didn't love the way that the star ornaments were done. I don't know. So I think that's what really stumped me. And then once I changed them, I was happier with it, and I was able to like push through it and complete it. Before I added these, it sat like half done for probably 2 weeks, but I'm happy with the way that it turned out. And I don't typically use like pinks and purples and blues in Christmas stuff. I'm pretty basic, and I usually stick with my red, green, white, and gold, but I thought this was pretty fun and bright and colorful, and I really liked it. So when all is said and done, I did like it. Next up is my Kawaii Tarot, and I did this title page, and I just matched the colors from this owl here. And then on this next page, I did the little frog, and again, I just followed the colors from there. And I need to fix this. I got a little gold smudge, but that can get fixed pretty good. I bought this book, and I intend on coloring the cards the way that the actual tarot cards from Lululemon are. And so I bought those off of Mercari a couple months ago, and I've already put them in order for how the book is. So I think I'll just start from front to back and move through it and just grab the card for reference when I need to. It'll be a fun, easy way where I don't have to think about color palettes, and it should be pretty easy and straightforward. If you hear the crunching, Evelyn's decided that it's time to have some dinner while I'm doing this. So, all right, next up is Seasons Creepings. Now, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this book. And yeah, once I started in it, I realized that I did like it because I finished a couple different pages. The first one I did was this fun little snowman. I just used basic alcohol markers, and there's no fancy shading. It's just, yeah, flat color, and this one was super easy because most of it's white. And then I went ahead and did this one. Look how fun. The little penguins are super cute. And then this one, I think this was it. Yeah, this was the last page I did. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. They came together really fast, and yeah, I enjoyed coloring in it. Next up is Enchanted Christmas. So this is another paint with water book. So I just get my paintbrush out, some water, take it, put it over the line work. It'll pull out the color and let it dry, and then I've got a completed page. If you haven't tried these, they're a lot of fun. They're really relaxing. And then I did this page. And it's really fun seeing like what colors end up coming out. Because like the trees, I didn't know if all of them were going to be the green, and there's some gradient ones, and it was a lot of fun. Then this one. And then I did one more with these cute little elves. I do wish that their skin had some color on it, but there was no color on mine, so, or at least like the cheeks. Hold on. Let's see if maybe the cheeks do have something. Maybe I'm wrong. Nope. Yeah, I was hoping that at least the cheeks would have some sort of pigment in them, but nothing. Okay. Alrighty, so I got 4 done out of this. Next is the book that was gifted by Chelsea for Christmas, and I did the first title page. And in this book, I really need to make sure that I'm like being careful, because I muddied all of this up because I just used my water brush and just went across like this, where I should have started at one end and then moved down, because then I ended up pulling my red into my yellow and it just kind of made a mush. But I learned my lesson down here and So that turned out pretty. And I just did one page on this one. There's that. Next is my Dr. Seuss, Oh, the Places You'll Go. And what I did in this book was I went through, and I'm not going to show all the pages, but I went through and I just colored this guy's outfit on all the pages. So if he's in the book, all of his little outfits have been colored. This is going to be a fun book. I'm really looking forward to getting in here and putting down some color and playing with some different mediums in it. Because a lot of the pages are pretty easy, like they're not super detailed, so I think this book could come together pretty fast. But so that's what I did in there. Next, I got this Alice Down the Rabbit Hole book off of Book Outlet. It was like $1.99 or something like that, and I thought it was going to be like a small tiny book. I was surprised that it was a big square book when it came in, but it didn't take long. I think the third time I flipped through it, all the pages started coming apart. So I will likely trim it down and then use my mushroom punch for like happy planners and just disc bound this one. But I did complete this page, and on this one I used my silky crayons for the background. I used watercolor and more silky crayons for the grass and for the brown. I think all of this was a silky crayon. For Alice herself, she is done with acrylic marker. And then the bones are, I think I ended up doing those with my acrylic white. But this was a lot of fun. The paper took everything really well, and then how it works is you take it and you're going to flip the page, and then I can continue on with the browns here and all throughout there, and it just keeps going down the whole rabbit hole. So the illustrations are a little quirky and different, so I think I'm going to enjoy playing with this. I kind of feel like lately that I'm turning into a paper snob, because I've learned what books have really nice paper and what you're able to do with nice quality paper. And so now I feel a little snobbish when I've got a book that doesn't perform well with the paper. It just makes me not want to work in it. Next up is Luna from Maria Troll. And I did this page. Let me see. Yep. Okay, so this page did not have the black circle. I added that, and I based everything with water-based markers and then went on top with my Prismacolor pencils. And the outside is the neon pink and orange Prismacolor pencils. And then the gold is from my Signo gold. It looks like I added some little dots of color on the blue and the green, and those were from my Languo effects pens. So yeah, this came out, I'm really happy with it. I thought it turned out really pretty. And so this is no longer an untouched book. And I think the next one I have marked that I want to do is the cover. And again, I want to try and match the colors. So with all these purples, I'll probably end up having to use my watercolors to get the different shades and everything. But I've already gone through and added all the gold. So this will be the next one I work on when I grab for this book. Next up is in Fairy Tale Worlds, and I added gold on here for the stars. I colored this little cloud drummer guy with just a little bit of colored pencil, white acrylic, and then the gold for the little hearts. And then I colored the little girl fairy. And she was based with water-based markers, gold Signo, Prismacolors for shading, and then white acrylic on the wings. And I think I added some of my Spectrum Noir glitter pen to her wings to give it a little bit of sparkle. And then this page is probably my favorite for December, and it is the Nutcracker page. I'm really proud of this page. It came together pretty well and pretty fast. If you've been watching my channel for the last couple months, then you'll know that my daughter was in the Nutcracker this year as a small soldier, and so there were lots of rehearsal nights where I just had to sit and wait for her. And so it was fun doing this while I was waiting for her to do like dress rehearsals and stuff. So everything was based with my Crayola Super Tips, shaded with my Prismacolor. And then the background is a color from the Languo Colorful Black series. I use the acrylic marker for the big spots, and then in with like where all of the tiny detail is for all of the greenery and things, I used the click pen that Languo has. And it's just, I don't know, in my opinion, it seems to be juicier than the 0.6. And the click ones just, I don't know. I like them a tad bit better than the 0.6. And then gold is my Signo, and this is chalk pastel with my neon yellow Prismacolor that I kind of put on the edges to help really brighten it up. So yes, there is that page. Alrighty, next on my pile is Mythic World, and I just did the title page. So for this, I based with my water-based markers, went in with my Prismacolors, and then I also went in with some of my acrylic markers. So her face is water-based marker, Prismacolor, so are the snakes, and then the rest is acrylic marker. Yes. And I did end up using, I hope you can see, for her eyes and the snake's eyes, I use my red glaze pen. Hope it's picking it up. It just looks pretty shiny. And then there was you can probably still see it, or I can still see, the design in the background in the black. There was some decorative stuff in there, and I originally went through with colored pencil and colored it, but as I worked on it, it just seemed like it was too busy, and I didn't love it, so I blacked it out and put the color and everything on the outside. So there's that page. Next is Worlds Within Worlds. And again, I just did title pages and I tried to match the cover again. And this was just with my water-based markers. And it was fun. It was just fast and easy. I just scribbled some color on and yeah, it was fun. So yeah, got that. Next up is Fragile World. This is my favorite Kirby book, and I'm happy that I started coloring it because it has made me tab a whole bunch of other pages that I really want to work in. So I did the cover for this one, or not the cover, the title. And it was based again in my water-soluble markers. Actually, it's all water-soluble markers. I didn't use any colored pencil on this. Yeah, it's all just different shades of the marker. And then for the background, I used my Silky crayon, and then I just rubbed it out. Yeah, I just used the crayon, scrubbed it on for the bottom, and then I used my finger and I just brought it out as far as I could for the background. But yeah, all of the color in here, it's just the lightest green color, and then wherever Kirby shows that they're shading, I just went over those with a couple different shades of different colors. So couple different shades for the green, and then a couple different shades for the ground for the sand. And that one came together pretty quickly too. It's so cute. Little turtle. Alright. Then next is Mythographic Dragon Spell. When did I pick this up? I got this back in July. And I usually do the front pages, but this was a lot of color, and I know that I'll more than likely have to use a lot of pencil work to get the same effects with this. So I did the gold, but it sat for a long time. So I actually picked a page, and I picked this one. Oops. And this one I based with alcohol marker for everything. Prismacolor colored pencils for detailing. Gold Signo for all of the gold accents. And then a white acrylic to go over all of the like cloudy areas. And the sky, I've had several people tell me that they like my sky backgrounds when I do them with alcohol marker because of the effect that it is. And it's just me not putting down enough alcohol marker. It's the only time that I'm okay with splotchiness and unevenness with my alcohol marker is when I'm doing a sky. So it really is just me going in and just scribbling down the color and not going over it to make sure the areas are fully saturated. So yeah, you can see, like on the dragon, it was pretty saturated. On the green, it's pretty saturated. It's full. You can see that. But for the sky, there's lots of areas where it didn't fully go through the paper. So that's how I get that look. It's just me being lazy and not completely saturating it with color. But I am happy with this page. I was pretty intimidated to start in this one. I love Joseph Kattenbing's work, but yeah, I couldn't pick a page to start with. But it really is true that once you just get started and just put color down, the rest just comes. And they come together pretty fast if you've got all of your supplies and stuff ready. So there's that page. Next up are a couple of my Johanna Basford books, and this is Magical Jungle, and I completed this page. I did put gold on some of this page, but I'm not sure that I'm going to go any further with it. I think I'm just going to leave the butterfly accents with gold and be good. For this, so everything was based with water-based markers, Prismacolors for all the shading, and then my gold Signo, just on repeat. That's what I used, and this was another one that I worked on when my daughter was doing Nutcracker rehearsal. There was a whole week where it was the week that she had her rehearsal practice, like at the big facility where she did it on stage, was the same week that I lost my voice. So I couldn't help with stuff, and so I was just relegated to like sitting in a hallway with my coloring supplies, and it was probably like 12 hours total that week that I just got to sit in a hallway and color stuff. So this was one of those pages. And I'm happy with it. I'm not 100% comfortable. I love florals and I love plants and greenery, but I haven't colored enough of them to feel really confident in like shading and everything of them. But I think this came out pretty. So I'm happy with that one. And then Johanna's Christmas. And I just did this page, and I used my watercolor pencils. I used my watercolor pencils, used my water to work it out, and then I added some of my Papermate flares for the details and adding in some depth. And like for the red, for the little berries, it was just a red Papermate flare. Then for the Merry Christmas, it was my Languo gold that I watered out. Because otherwise, if I would have tried to use any other gold, it would have been too opaque and I would have lost a lot of the details in the letters. So that was my quick, fast page, because I bought this book in December, and so I didn't have a ton of time to devote to doing it, but I touched another untouched book. Alrighty, next up is my Camilla Derrico books. Okay guys, I have like 5 of these books, and I had mentioned that I hadn't colored any of them. Well, I can't say that anymore. So in the Pop Mangas Dragon, I colored this page with the cute little dragon, and I used my watercolor, oh my gosh, my watercolor colored pencils for this, and my gold Signo for any of the gold. And then I did this page too. And again, it was just my watercolor color pencils. And then the background is one of the new stencils that I hauled from Temu and Distress Ink. And then the gold on this little guy is my Signo gold, and the purple on her is the Signo purple. This one. Yeah. Metallic Violet is what it's called. So I opted to not color all of the feathers that are flying down because I just didn't want to. I guess I could go and just like give them at least some shading, but for just like a title page, I thought it was fine. So, and again, no color pencils. It was all just my watercolor pencils that I moved out with water. So I was having a lot of fun with those towards the end of the month. Next, I did another one. So yeah, I have 3 more Camellia books that are sitting over there that I will be working in January. Because I'm going to leave January 2026 with 0 untouched books. I promise you that. All right, so in this Pop Manga, I did this fun little title page. And again, it was just with my watercolor color pencils. And I'm just as happy with this paper as I thought I'd be. I have heard that it's amazing and it takes water really well, but you don't really appreciate it until you're actually in there playing with it. And just the amount of like depth and everything that I could get from, I think this was just like 2 layers of me putting down my pencils. I mean, it's amazing. It turned out really, really good. And like her pants, or sorry, her little shorts. Yeah. It would have taken a lot longer to do stuff like that with like colored pencils and the shading, but it was literally me putting down my light shade of blue, watering it out, and then me going in with my darker one, just putting it in the areas that I wanted the darker areas to be, and then pulling that out. On this little guy, I did take the pencils to him after he was dry to give it some extra texture look on there. But yes, I thought it was really fun. And these little unicorns are just so freaking precious. Look at his little tushy. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to finishing the other 3 books that I have. Next up, I don't remember if I shared this. I got this one in November from Walmart. It was just a $3 book, but it was kind of fun because, oh no, I got it this month. Some of the pages have color already in it. And it's just going to be a really fun, look at that. A really fun book to play in. And so I did this page and I just took my oil pastels and smoothed it out, and I actually ended up taking a dry paper towel and like really varnishing it into the page so you don't really feel the slickness of the oil pastel. And it was just kind of fun to play around with it and see what sort of blends I could get. And then the background, I used a stencil and some white pigment ink. So it's a fun, fast little page. I thought about doing like some doodle work inside him and then decided I had too much stuff to do and I didn't have time to do all that work. Next up is my little stitch book, and I did this page. Alcohol marker, white acrylic pen, and then a stencil with, I don't remember which distress ink it was, but yeah, just cute, fun page. These books, the advanced coloring books at Walmart, are $3, and they're all single-sided pages, and the paper is decent. It's, yeah, it was pleasant working with this. I didn't feel like I was struggle bussing with any of these books that I'm showing next. Then I got this book from Five Below, and I colored The Incredibles. And this was just straight flat alcohol marker. And then in the background where all the yellow dots are, all of that is from the 3D languo pens that I have. And they are super opaque. When you put them down, they're very cloudy, but I wasn't, I was surprised at how opaque they were once they dried. But yeah, so there's a page in there. Next up was the Princesses book. And I finished the Rapunzel page up front. Again, just flat alcohol marker coloring, and then I used the metallic violet to go around all of the letters. So yeah, just super easy. I think, what did I do here? I'm pretty sure, yes. So for all the suns, I colored all of the suns with a neon color colored pencil. And then I wanted to see what type of like resist it would give me when I used my alcohol marker over it. And I like the effect that it gives. I thought it was fun. And there was some resist on some of the areas where it was, you could tell I put more pigment down from the pencil, but yeah, it was just kind of fun. Fun, easy page. Next up is the Harry Potter book. And I love these illustrations. They're super cute, super, super cute. Okay, and I just did the cover page. And I matched the colors the best I could from the cover. And I didn't do any sort of shading. It was just flat. And then for the yellow, I did use one of my acrylic markers. But these illustrations are adorable. Yeah, look at him with his little mouse. All right, next up, this is the only whip that I had left over from November. And so it was my Cup of Warmth girl. She was based with alcohol marker. Shading and details were done with my Prismacolor. And then I used, I'm pretty sure I used my Silky crayons, watered it out to give me this real watercolor loose background. And then I went in with a darker blue Prismacolor and kind of pulled the color out. But I wanted her to kind of pop out a little bit more, and so I wanted it darker around her silhouette. But yeah, that was fun, and her eyes came out really pretty. So there's that. Next up was from this large print color by number book. And I went for the color by numbers. Most of them that are done by Thunder Ray Press have an extra color key somewhere on the back flap. And so I take a copy of this and then I keep it in my book. And I went through, and since I know how this paper reacts to alcohol markers and some other mediums, I decided that I wanted to get all the colors for my Prismacolors. And so that's what I used for this horse. Since it already had the numbers in there, I just went ahead and colored that one. But there are some really pretty pages in here. And they're just big, bold pages. So all right, this is the Christmas Nutcracker from AJ Quinnell, and I did this page with just alcohol marker, just plain flat alcohol marker. Last month I got carried away with the Alice one, and I did the whole book. I showed a lot of restraint, and I didn't do the whole book for this one. And most of it is because I know my daughter's going to keep doing the Nutcracker, and so I don't want to finish all of my Nutcracker type pages this year. So this will give me something that I know I can work in every year that she's doing that. And so for the color code for this, it's on the back, and I don't make a copy of this since it's so big. I just went through and wrote out all of my Ohuhu colors that I'm going to use, and I will keep that in the book. Next up, this was a new book, and I did a couple pages, and this was done with just water-based markers. I'm not too precious about these color by numbers because the paper is on Amazon paper and I loathe it. So yeah, I'm not too like particular or precious if you can see the lines from the markers and stuff. And yeah, it's just a mindless coloring that I can do. And yeah, and then there's my color chart, and there's the next page I can work on. This was an untouched book, so I came in and I used one of my brown sepia, however you say it, markers to go around all the areas, and I don't love it. I did the same with this one, and I'd use a finer point nib, and I just go around all of the little areas. Just very mindless, don't have to think about it, and I liked it better with the smaller nib than with the like marker brush tip for that one. So yeah, there's that. All right, my pile's getting smaller. Next, I purchased the North Pole Elves when Morgan O'Brien had told us all that he had put it in his Kofi store. And I did this page. And I tried to match the colors to what Morgan O'Brien did in his illustration. And so there he is. Just alcohol marker and acrylic pen for some of the snow, and then I added my Spectre Noir little glitter pen, if you can see the sparkle. Next up from Morgan O'Brien is Any Day a Winter Tale. And I did this page where Annie is decorating the tree. And it's alcohol marker. I used for the blue shiny areas. Those are some of my languo, like sparkly, I think they're called flash pens. And then her dress, I used one of my folk art red glitter paints to go over that. And then for the background, I wanted it to look like there were a whole bunch of like different colored lights behind her. And so I used like a warm gray, a pretty dark warm gray. And then I went in and used some of my lighter colored alcohol markers in yellow and green and pink and blue. put those down and then used my colorless blender to move them out a little bit more for that, that kind of lighting effect behind her. So I'm happy with this one. I thought she turned out really pretty. Yeah, I had a couple more marked for if I had time to get back into this one, but I just didn't. So they will, I can get back into this for January and February though, because it's winter. All right, and then next was a cookbook coloring book. And this was a project, not a project, this was a buddy color with Chelsea. And Chelsea asked if we could do, like, in this book, there are multiple pages for, like, the scene. So this has 3 pages. So you start at the beginning of him getting supplies, of her getting supplies, her making what she's going to make, and then them eating it. So this was the little series that we decided to do. I'll put Chelsea's up over here. And so, yeah, the first page was Matchstick going to the owl to get some cinnamon. Alcohol marker, white acrylic, and gold Signo on my page. And Chelsea's is super cute. I love how she made her owl like pastel rainbow, and then how Matchstick's hat matches it. Just so cute. All right, and so there was one. The next page was Matchstick rolling out her cinnamon roll dough. I'll put Chelsea's over here. Yeah, I thought this came out super cute. Chelsea did such a cute job. And then the last one in this is Matchstick eating her cinnamon rolls with all of her friends. And here's my page. Here's Chelsea's page. And again, alcohol marker, white acrylic for like the frosting and the dots on my snails. I love how Chelsea's snails look like cinnamon rolls. It's just, it was just so smart of her to do that. Just very clever of her. But yes. And this was an Untouched book for me. So thank you, Chelsea, for helping me get one of my books worked in this month. All right, next is Any Day, a soft living coloring book. And I got 2 pages done in here because I wasn't paying attention when Amanda Color told us what the page was for the hashtag for the month. And I did this page because I thought it was this page. And then on, oh gosh, when was it? It was like December 30th, I think. Chelsea posted her Any Day page, and then she realized that I posted the wrong one, and she messaged me and told me what the real one was, and so I did that one too. But this was a fun page. She's just making some dough. I really liked how my countertop is marble and her outfit is yellow, and it doesn't look like they're just having so much fun. Look at him. He's so cute. Yeah, so there's that page. And then the actual AC Any Day hashtag page was this one where she was making some soup. And the background on the image looked like it was raining outside, but I wanted it to look like it was snowing. So I used some white acrylic and, I put a really light blue alcohol marker background first, and then I went and used my white acrylic to cover up some of those lines. I used a white pin to kind of make the lid look like it was glass, and then I took my acrylic marker and swiped it for a couple like little steam marks, and then while it was still wet, I wiped it away as fast as I could, and it didn't completely screw up the page. So I was happy with it. But yeah, so there was that. Alrighty, just a handful left, guys. This book, Color and Reveal Animals. I was so looking forward to working in this book, and it was very, very unpleasant to work in it. I'll show you. So maybe I need to try alcohol marker. I really didn't want to do alcohol marker. I wanted to use my water-based markers for it. And it just, the paper is so weird. It didn't work well with the water-based markers. And yeah, I don't know. Usually when I'm doing color by number, I just love it and I can't stop doing it. This one, I did a few of the numbers, realized that the paper was just not doing what I wanted it to, and then it sat for a couple weeks before I came back to it reluctantly and finished it. But yeah, I definitely will need to try a different medium, because water-based is not where it's at. And I mean, it even made the paper peel in some spots. So yeah, and I did this one because it reminded me of my dog Sophie, who is a Morkie. So she's half Yorkie and half Maltese, and her ears do stand straight up. So yeah, if I end up doing this over, if I find a medium that works, and like maybe if I really wanted to do like acrylic or something, then we'll come back and do this. But part of what I liked about this book was all of the different lines and stuff in it. And if I use acrylic, I'm not going to get that. So yeah, I guess I will cross my fingers and hope that alcohol marker works good in here, because otherwise I'm definitely not doing colored pencil on something like this. I would have to destash this book, because it won't be something that I will want to work in. Next up, this was a book that was sent to me by the illustrator, Helena. Helena was one of the illustrators who participated in the November Mad Tea Party, and she had given a PDF image to the hashtag. Let me grab it. She gave this image, and she created this, if I remember correctly, she created this specifically for us, for the hashtag. Jamie had reached out to her, or she had reached out to Jamie, and she threw this together within a short amount of time. So after the Mad Tea Party, she reached out to me and asked if I would like to be a part of her US like coloring group, because she is based out of Germany. She lives by the Black Forest in Germany. And so anyways, long story short, she sent this to all the people that are in her little group. It's a very unique coloring book in the fact that she incorporates some, like, I don't know the correct word to use, but it's like a lot of like self-reflection, well-being, holistic type of stuff within her book. And on this page, it has a name and a description of all of the animals that she has in here. and she posted this in the group and asked us all to pick out which one like spoke to us the most. And then once we got the book, she wanted us to color that animal and then see if the stuff that she wrote over here matched at all. And so yeah, it's just a very fun, unique book. So I use water-based markers, acrylic markers for all the line work, and some of my gold Signo for the gold. And over here, it will tell you about Ruby the Fox, energies that it represents, symbolic colors that you could put over into your image. And then there's like a personal intention spot where it says, today, as I color, I want to feel blank. So it's a very unique coloring book. It is available on Amazon, and I highly recommend it. It is more expensive than some of the other Amazon books. However, she has it printed on the color, like premium paper from Amazon. So it's a much better paper than like the R.J. Hampson ones are printed on. And the illustrations are adorable. Just so precious. And she does hand draw all of her images, and then she goes into, I think it's Procreate, to help kind of like sharpen up and adjust some things. But if you follow her on Instagram, I'll leave a link down below. She does post videos and sneak peeks of her behind the scenes creating these images. And yeah, they're so cute. And the concept behind this coloring book is really nice too. So there's that book. Okay, next up is this elf poster coloring board book that I picked up from Five Below. And I did 2 pages in here. This paper is really weird. It's got like, I don't know, everything that just kind of sits on top of it. So this was all my silky crayons that I watered out, and it took quite a while for it to like soak into the paper. So it just kind of sat there and moved around a bunch, and it wasn't, I don't know, it was kind of hard to use. So I tried another page where I used alcohol marker, and you can see on the dog that I was able to get texture on the dog because it just sat on top. So I did a base of the brown with the alcohol ink, let it dry, and then I went in and just dabbed the top of my marker on it, and yeah, it just sits there for a while, and then it gives it that effect when it dries. So it's a very interesting paper, and it didn't bleed through at all. No bleed through. So I'm not sure what type of treatment is over it. I mean, it feels smooth. I mean, it doesn't feel like slick, but yeah, it's just an interesting paper to work on. Maya, if you're watching this, I know that you've bought a couple of these poster books from Five Below. Do you notice that it works like that? I'm just curious. Or maybe it's just this book in particular, and maybe some of the other ones aren't like that. But I also wanted to show that in this book, there are some images by the same illustrator that did the Harry Potter book that I like. I can just tell that it's the same illustrator. And I wish I knew who it was, because I want to find more of their books that just have their style in it. But yeah. yeah, the little narwhal. And yeah, the page that I already colored, that was definitely that style, but I just thought that was interesting that I keep finding that in just random places. Okay, Petite Princesses. This was an untouched book, and this was the last page that I finished. I finished it on the 31st of December. So here is the page that I did. And it is mostly done with guangna acrylic markers. And then there are a few languo acrylic markers and a few languo plus pens that I had to use. And most of the languo were used for the grays and the kind of browny grays. That is something that I will say languo does amazingly for their acrylics and just their lines in general, is that the colors that they offer are unlike any of the other colors in other acrylic markers. So yeah, if you have the guangna and you feel like you're just kind of missing some, like you've got some holes in it where you're not able to get the shades that you really want, look into the guangna, or sorry, look into the languo. This was the brown gray set. The colorful black set is also a good one. They have like some dark skin and skin tone. Those are nice. So yeah, just throwing that out there, that if I didn't have the languo ones, I probably wouldn't have finished this page because I didn't have anything anywhere close to these shades that I needed in my guangna. But yes. And these pages, I take a long time doing them. I enjoy doing them, and yeah, I want them to look like paintings when I open the book. Alrighty, and next is my Mickey. My Mickey and Friends. This was a new book, and I did Pluto in the snow. And if you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that I have griped about white acrylic. And some books, some of these color by number books have darker line work than others. And this one, I would say, has darker line work than some of the other ones that I have. And so it's almost impossible to cover up all of the extra lines in the white. And I mean, I probably went over that 3 or 4 times, and I just wasn't going to waste any more of my white trying to cover it. But yeah, it was a fun, quick page, and I like that these are like your old school characters. Just very nostalgic for us old people. So yeah, I was debating between doing these 2 pages, and I will probably come back in January and February and do one or both of those. All right, last but not least is My Princesses Tome 2. And I selected, oops, wrong way, this Cinderella page to do. And this one was a lot of fun. I like all the colors. They play so well with each other. Like the purple in the mountains and the blues in her dress. Even this kind of like burnt red color. Yes, she turned out pretty. All right, that is it for my December completed pages. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe so you won't miss any of my other videos. I will be back on doing the year in review video that was posted by Karen from My Colorful Country Life. I know a lot of people posted those before the new year, but yeah, I'm a little late to the game, and I will be recording that tomorrow and posting that in the next couple days. So yes, yeah, again, I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, bye-bye.